Hi everyone, welcome to Atman Unleash Your Soul. Thank you for the love that I have received on my previous video, which is how to raise your vibration, wherein I have spoken about the vibrational frequency chart and what being in a state of negative loop is, and then how to reach neutrality, and then from neutrality how to reach a higher vibrational frequency, which is actually your ideal state of being. If you haven't checked out my previous video, request you to please go and check that out. In this video, we will be speaking about how to avoid negative thinking, how to prevent your mind from negative thinking or going into the negative loop, which in turn drags you down in the frequency chart and keeps you in a state of negative frequency. Which in turn will land you up in a lot of trouble if you believe in the factor that energy is what you throw out in the universe, and the universe brings you circumstances based on your energy. Many of these points you already know maybe, but you need to be reminded of. Now, three of the most important practices that I also personally do, because even I get into the trap of negativity. It is not impossible, it is only human. So if you are feeling negative, if you think that things are just getting out of hand and you feel all over the place, it is just human. It is a human reaction. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and this is going to happen any which way. Number one is, do not be in that state of negativity for as long as you want. You can allow yourself some time to vent out. It can be 1 day, 2 days, but that should be it. So you spend time with yourself. You can vent out to a friend, to your loved ones, to yourself, or just allow yourself some time to be in that zone, but not beyond 2 to 3 days. That is something I highly recommend. Point number one is, stop fixating. That is, do not fixate on one particular thing that you cannot get, or one particular thing that makes you unhappy. So even if there is some circumstance that is making you unhappy, some incident that makes you unhappy, or some future thing that you are looking forward to, but you think that it is not going to happen. It can be a job, it can be an examination, it can be something that just passed you by. So don't fixate on it, because when you put all your eggs in one basket, you know what happens, right? So there is a higher risk. So don't do that, because life is always what we call holistic, right? So when we are looking at life holistically, then apart from just one thing, there are also other things in your life. So try to shift the focus. Try to shift the focus with each passing day. Yes, it will be difficult, because initially you are putting 100% of your time, effort, or your mental space to that one thing which is negative. But after you start practicing it, maybe you give it 80% of your mind space, then it's 70%, 50%. So stop fixating. Stop fixating, because if you fixate, you are focusing on the lack. If you focus on the lack increases, because what we focus on increases. That shows up. So in Bengali we have a saying, jekhane bagher bhoy shekhane sondhe hoy. So it means that whatever you fear, that happens in your life. So it is, don't hold yourself to it. It is nothing negative. Whatever has happened has happened. Don't fixate on one negative thing, or one negative circumstance, or one negative factor in yourself which you don't like. Okay, so don't fixate on that. That is point number one. Number two is affirming. I absolutely love this concept, because affirming is, in a situation, we are predicting, or we are presupposing the positive outcome. Okay, so supposedly you are driving towards your office and you think that I will not get the parking slot. In all probability you will not get it. But on the contrary, while driving to office, if you think that I will definitely get a parking spot, then you might get it. Okay, so this is called the law of assumption. This is how it works. Now what happens is, usually human beings are hardwired, because since prehistoric times they were hardwired to be prepared for the worst possible outcome. So we had to always prepare, our prehistoric ancestors, they had to always prepare for any attack that might happen, any wild animal that might break into the cave, and so many things. So they used to be at a fight and flight response. But in today's day and age, you don't need that. You don't need to be, ready for the worst possible outcome all the time. But since our brain is hardwired, we operate like that. Supposedly a dear one is hospitalized, or a friend is not picking up the phone, correct? You always assume the worst possible outcome, but do not do that. And since it's a hardwiring, it needs time to change. But I always tell my friends this particular analogy, that they tell me, if I prepare for the worst, whatever happens, I am happy, so I am good, correct? But with the power of assumption, what are you trying to do? With the power of assumption, you are increasing your chances at being happy. You are increasing your chances of the universe granting your wishes. So when you assume something which is positive, what happens is, you are in a positive state of being. It might happen, it might not happen, okay? But if you do not apply that, what is your life then? Then you give up even before trying, or maybe you are in a negative state of being for the entire time you are assuming the negative thing. So anyways, when we think of something, we assume something, right? We either will think that I will get this job or I will not get it. So if you think that I will not get it, the entire time of preparation also you are suffering. But if you think that you will get it, the determination will increase. The state of joy will come to you. So assuming is very important. Letting go. So letting go is, whatever you cannot control, you let that go. Okay? Whatever is not in your control, you let that go. What does it mean? It means the outcome, the final outcome, and how it will happen, it is not your lookout. What your lookout is, to have a positive bent of mind, to work towards your own self-development, to raise your own vibration. Let the other things go. The other things will just fall into place later. You don't need to think about it at all at this point in time. This is about letting go. So in today's video, I am just focusing on these 3 practices, which are very, very difficult to implement. I know, that is why I did not incorporate many other practices. I am giving you a quick recap so that you can also remember them easily when you are applying. Number 1 is, don't fixate. Number 2 is, always assume what is positive. Assume the positive outcome. Be in a practice of assuming the positive. And number 3 is, you have to let go. You have to let go. Do your own actions, do your own deeds, and let go. Something positive definitely will come out of it. Earlier people used to say, neki kar darya mein dal. It is like that. Okay, be a positive spirit, be a positive influence in people's life, be a positive influence in your own life. Okay, because our mind is controlling all our actions and all our deeds, right? So be a positive influence on yourself, and then forget the rest. Just forget the rest. So that is it for this week. Until next week, don't stop dreaming.